Well, hello there. How are you guys? Hope you're all doing well. Today we're gonna take a look at the Goonies. So, as always, we're gonna start off with the facts and the main information about the movie that I could find in my leisurely scrolling through of information there is on this movie. First off, this movie was released in 1985, and as far as I can tell, became an occult classic, up to the point in which it was. Oh, where is it? Because I wanna get the name right. It was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. As being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. For those of you who don't know, the Library of Congress is basically like modern day Library of Alexandria. Basically everything that is of historical or artistical or culturally or religiously important is put into the Library of Congress. And for this movie to be put in there, it's actually like such a big deal. Like a much bigger deal than I can put into words or that I've written down in my script. It doesn't surprise me that this movie was put into the Library of Congress strictly because of the people behind the movie. So this movie was directed and co-produced by Richard Donner. And for those of you who don't know, Richard Donner was an American filmmaker and producer who was most notable for his the Superman trilogy from the 70s. It was really big back then, and Lethal Company, funnily enough.
No, it didn't get too far. They found him on a rooftop nearby, strangled. And get this, pigeons ate his eyeballs. Cool.
It's actually really interesting if you look at it. I never, until doing research into this, I never put together that Sloth's shirt is the Superman shirt, and the guy who directed and co-produced this movie was the person behind the Superman trilogy. It was dots aligned and connected that I didn't know were there until doing research for this movie. I think that's really cool that they kind of put that in there as like I'm sure it was like a in honor of the director. Next, the next person that was of notable talent was the person who wrote the screenplay, which was Chris Columbus. And those of you who are unaware, Chris Columbus has made some of the some movies that I have already covered. He made Home Alone. He's made some of the Harry Potter movies, and he's just a really good director and producer as far as I can find. And lastly, the last main person was Steven Spielberg. Seeing this movie already had two giants, two major players in the cinema movie industry. To add a third one, the fact that this is in the Library of Congress doesn't surprise me at all. Steven's work is almost unmatched, or Spielberg's work is almost unmatched. He has made some truly crazy movies in his life. He's also one of the co-founders of Amblin Entertainment and DreamWorks, which is insane to think about. I mean, my favorite kids movie was How to Train Your Dragon, and that's a DreamWorks movie. So just this guy is like every step of my childhood. He's also he made Back to the Future. He made Gremlins. He made was a producer of the Band of Brothers. He's was behind Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and like so many other movies. I can't even name them all. It's actually insane how crazy the people behind this movie, and the fact that this movie was it's now almost what 10, 20, it's now almost 40 years old, and it's still a really good movie. Now, to finish off the fact portion of the video, if you really want to call it that, This movie grossed $125 million worldwide, with a budget of only $19 million. And the fact that it was added to the Library of Congress on top of this insane income that it had grossed, I think that just goes to show how good this movie is, or at least how good it was. Now we're going to get into the more of my opinion section of the video. There are a few things that I do want to talk about. There are a few things that I think were done extremely well. Like the plot of the movie, the general idea was amazing. The whole concept of the Goonies just trying to find a way to keep their homes away from some rich club. I can always get behind that.
Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second we ride up Troy's bucket.
The concept of the Falcones or whatever their names are, that's the only name I can think of, but I'm pretty sure that's a Batman thing, not a Goonies thing. I don't know why I even thought of that.
I can describe all three of them.
But just the general concept and the general feel good family get together vibe of the movie, as I'm sure you guys have figured out by now, I'm a huge vibe person. If a movie is good, it's gonna have a good vibe. If a movie's bad but has high quality video, I don't really care necessarily about editing or the audio or the music or the acting even. If it just feels good to watch, then it's gonna be a good movie in my book. And this movie is just a really feel-good movie. It's a classic, tale of kids going on a hero's journey, I guess. Although I don't think it's quite a hero's journey. It doesn't quite fall into a hero's journey box. It's more of just like an adventure. Oh, thank God I can see. The window right there is very bright and it hurts my eyes. Anyways, I can't express this enough. I really think you guys should go watch this movie if you haven't already. I'm sure most of you guys have seen this movie. It's such a good movie. One of the things that I didn't really like, though, wow, I'm getting into the sus stuff, but I swear, this really bugged me. Everybody was yelling. Nobody was talking. It almost felt like their mics were peaking and all of their voices kind of merged together. And at some points it became very difficult to tell who exactly was talking just because all of the voices were so loud.
They all said it. Lots of maybe there's some rich stuff.
So it has nothing to do against the movie itself necessarily. It's more of just the fact that it was just constantly yelling. There was very little actual dialogue that was not screaming. and when it was quiet, I don't know what was going on. It just sounded like... You guys should really go back and rewatch this movie, because you'll notice with the boys especially, their voices will blend together. And it's very difficult to tell who's who when it comes to certain scenes. But with that being said, I'm still going to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. And the real reason I'm giving it not as high as you might expect with how much praise I'm giving it is I don't think it aged too well. I think there were some parts of the movie that, some jokes even, that just aren't as funny anymore. And it's because, not necessarily because they're bad jokes anymore, it's just they're for a different time. And I never grew up in that time. The only time I really watched this movie was when I was a kid, so I didn't have a very big, strong emotional connection to it. It was one of my my family's go-to movies to watch every Saturday or something like that, but I didn't really have any means to truly connect with it. In fact, if you want to be real, one of the really interesting parts of this movie when it comes to my childhood. My family, we had this minivan, and we had this like DVD player that went on the back of the headset, or the like this part of the seat, right? It went on the back of that, and we had the Goonies DVD, and we would put that in and we would watch it, but for some reason it was a super scratched disc. So I would watch like maybe 2/3 of the movie and then not be able to watch the rest, or I wouldn't be able to start the first part of the movie and only be able to watch like the middle section. And so I guess there were parts of the movies that I had different conceptions of than when I went in and rewatched it now as an adult and more aware of what I'm actually consuming in terms of media. I think a 7 out of 10 is a worthy score. If you disagree, or if you think I missed something, or if you want to say anything else, be sure to leave it in the comments below. I enjoyed the movie. It was better than I remembered, but worse in some ways. So yeah, I guess just let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.